Welcome to Retire Rich, Tales of Financial Freedom with Mark Hernandez and Carlos Lopez from M.A.H Financial. In this podcast, we guide professionals of all generations, including Gen X, Millennials, and Baby Boomers, to answer an array of questions ranging from building wealth in 401k plans to selecting life insurance policies, including questions about IRAs, dividends, and bond alternatives. So tune in as South Texas's own financial advisors and fiduciaries, Mark and Carlos, draw from years of expertise, interview clients, and share stories of financial wisdom to accelerate your path to achieving your financial goals. Now, on to the show.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Dave. I'm joined here in the studio today with Carlos Lopez. Today we're going to be talking about 72T. And that topic is incredibly challenging for some federal employees navigating layoff. Can you explain a little bit about that?
David, it's my pleasure. Yeah, this is such a critical topic, and I'm glad we're dedicating time to it. Layoffs can be disorienting, and clear financial guidance is essential during such times.
Absolutely. The immediate concern for many federal employees who face layoff, especially if they're not of retirement age, is how to cover their living expenses. So they usually build up, like a savings in their TSP, but then there's that dreaded 10% early withdrawal. This is where the IRS code 72T becomes a lifeline, isn't it? Could you explain what 72 is in simple terms? Just explain it to me like I'm 5 years old if you can, because most of this stuff is just going to go right over my head.
Sure. Yeah, Section 72T is a special provision in the tax code that allows you to take distributions from your qualified retirement accounts, like the Thrift Savings Plan or TSP, before the age of 59 and a half without incurring that 10% early withdrawal penalty. The catch, and it's a significant one, is that these distributions must be taken as a series of substantially equal periodic payments, or SEPPs. And this isn't a free-for-all. It's a structured approach.
Okay, can you elaborate on how those payment amounts are determined?
Yes, the IRS outlines 3 specific methods for calculating these SEPPs, and the choice you make can significantly impact the amount that you receive. The first is the RMD, or Required Minimum Distribution method. This is often the most conservative method. You essentially take your account balance from the end of the previous year and divide it by a life expectancy factor based on the IRS tables. What's unique about this method is that your payment amount will likely change year to year because your account balance and your age factor will update. It's good for preserving capital because if your account value drops, your withdrawal amount also decreases.
Okay, I need a real-world example to kind of break that down for me.
Okay, sure. Let's say Andrew, a 52-year-old laid-off federal employee, needed access to retirement savings without the 10% early withdrawal penalty. He rolled over $200,000 from his TSP into a traditional IRA. And as the SEP rules apply to the IRAs, to calculate his penalty-free withdrawals, he chooses the RMD method, which recalculates the payment each year. For Andrew's first withdrawal, he divided his $200,000 IRA balance by the IRS life expectancy factor for his age, 52 years of age, right? Which equates to about 34.3, resulting in an annual payment of $5,830, give or take. Now, this amount is subject to regular income tax, but not the early withdrawal penalty of 10%. And to maintain this status, Andrew must continue taking annual distributions until at least the age of 59 and a half.
So variable payments is good for long-term preservation. What are the other 2 methods?
The second method is the Fixed Annuitization method. This method calculates a fixed annual payment that remains the same for the entire duration of the SEP plan. It uses your account balance, a reasonable interest rate, which is limited by IRS guidelines, which are usually tied to a federal midterm rate, and your life expectancy to amortize or gradually reduce the balance over that period. It provides predictability, which can be very comforting for someone who needs a consistent income stream. For example, let's say John, a 54-year-old laid off federal employee, let's say John needs a consistent income stream for his IRA before he turns 59 and a half. His IRA balance was $300,000. Now, to calculate his penalty-free withdrawals, he chooses the fixed amortization method for its predictable payments. This method requires using an IRS-approved life expectancy table and a reasonable interest rate. Let's say John uses the federal midterm rate from August of 2025, which is about 4.06%, but he can use a rate up to 120% of that. Choosing a conservative rate of 3.5% and using the IRS Uniform Lifetime Table factor for him, which is 31.8, his financial advisor calculated a fixed annual payment of $15,800. The specific amount of $15,800 is what John will withdraw every year until he reaches the age of 59 and a half, or for at least 5 years, whichever is longer. The payment amount will not change regardless of market fluctuations.
Got it. I swear I did the math. What is the third option?
The third option is the fixed annuitization method. So this is kind of similar to the amortization method, a lot of A's in there, in that it also provides a fixed amount. However, it uses an annuity factor, which incorporates mortality rates to determine the payment. While both fixed methods produce or provide consistency, the annuitization method often results in a slightly different payment amount that the other one does, depending on the factors used.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that a little bit further.
Of course, this is very complex.
Yeah.
But let's say Susan, a laid-off federal employee who's 52, she has $400,000 in her TSP. For Susan to avoid the 10% early withdrawal penalty, she uses this method, the fixed annuitization method. Now, this method calculates a fixed yearly payment by dividing her account balance by an IRS factor, annuity factor. Based on her age and an assumed interest rate, this calculation gives her a fixed annual payment of about $25,000. She must continue to take this exact amount each year until she reaches the age of 59 and a half to avoid the penalty.
Okay. Which method would you generally lean towards or recommend they explore first?
Well, that's where personalized advice comes in, David, because there's no one-size-fits-all answer. For our 50-year-old federal employee, their immediate cash flow needs are paramount. If they anticipate finding new employment within a few years but need a bridge in the meantime, we'd model all three methods. The RMD method might offer less cash up front, but it gives the most flexibility if they want to stop payments without penalty once they reach the 59 and a half. The fixed methods provide more certainty in income, which can be crucial for budgeting, but they come with a longer commitment period. We also look at the current applicable federal interest rates, as those play a significant role in the fixed method calculations.
So it's not a short-term thing you can just turn on and off. Can you explain it? Is there any requirements for durations? What happens if somebody deviates from it?
Deviates. Well, this is arguably the most critical part or crucial aspect of 72T. Once you start taking these SEPPs, you're committed to continuing in them for a longer of 2 periods, either 5 years or until you reach the age of 59 and a half. So if our 50-year-olds start taking payments today, they will be locked into that payment schedule for 9.5 years until they turn 59 and a half. If they start at age 56, they'd still be committed for 5 years, even though they turn 59 and a half within that period. The later of rule is key. So if you deviate, going back to what you asked, if you deviate from the established payment schedule, meaning you stop payments, take more or less than the calculated amount, or make additional contributions to the amount or the account from which you're taking the SEPs, the IRS will retroactively apply the 10% early withdrawal penalty to all the distributions you've taken since the plan began, plus interest. So it can be an incredibly costly mistake, which is why precision and commitment are so vital.
You'd mentioned Rule 55 earlier. How does the 72T compare to the Rule of 55? And when would it be preferable, one or the other?
Right. That's a good question, as it applies to many of our employees that are laid off. Both of them allow for penalty-free withdrawals, but with different circumstances. The rule of 55 applies when you separate from service, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, in the year you turn 55 or later. If you meet that age criteria and the separation from service happens in that year, you can take distributions from the retirement plan of your employer you just left, like your TSP, without the 10% penalty. Now, here's the key difference. That's when the rule of 55 doesn't have the substantially equal periodic payments or SEPPs requirement or the long-term commitment of 72T, in that you can take out what you need when you need it. However, the limitation is age. If you're laid off at 54, the rule of 55 isn't an option for you. This is where 72T comes in. It offers a solution for those who are under 55 and need to access their retirement funds. But as we discussed, it comes with strict SEP rules and a long-term commitment. You can't start the 72 plan at 53, say, and then at 55 decide to stop it and switch it to the 55 rule. That would be a modification and would trigger the 72T penalty.
So it's either or. So one of them is based off of when you left work, and the other one is based on your age.
Right.
So how does the 72 plan interact with, say, your FERS pension or your Social Security?
Well, that's a crucial part of the holistic financial plan. When implementing a 72T strategy, we have to consider within the broader context of their FERS plan, pension and Social Security. For FERS, if you laid off before meeting your minimum age, retirement age, or MRA, right, for an immediate unreduced annuity, your pension might be deferred. A 72T plan can provide the income bridge until that deferred first pension kicks in. We project the pension start date and amount and tailor the 72T payments to fill that gap. With Social Security, the earliest you can claim is age 62, but your benefit is permanently reduced. A 72T plan can potentially allow you to delay the claiming the Social Security, which means a higher benefit later on. So instead of taking Social Security early at the reduced rate, you might use 72T income to cover expenses until age 62, 67, or even 70, allowing your Social Security benefit to grow. This is where careful cash flow planning is essential.
So, this combination is powerful. Using 72T until a higher FERS pension, or you can claim a higher Social Security. Is there any pitfalls to any of this?
Well, the biggest pitfall, as we've already stressed, is the deviating. That's the key word, deviating from the payment schedule. Any unplanned change, even a missed payment due to forgetfulness, can trigger that retroactive penalty. So impeccable record keeping and discipline are paramount. Another pitfall is not understanding the impact of your long-term retirement savings. While 72T provides necessary liquidity, it does draw down your principal earlier than planned. So we need to project what your TSP balance will look like at age 59 and a half and beyond, ensuring that you will have enough for a comfortable retirement. On a final note, attempting to calculate and administer a 72T plan on your own is a common mistake that we've seen. The calculations are complex, the IRS rules are strict, and any misstep can be incredibly costly. So this is why this is truly an area where professional guidance is not just recommended, but almost essential.
Okay, very informative for federal employees facing a layoff, understanding the ins and outs of 72T, and working with their pension and Social Security. It's a very complex topic.
It is. The key message is this: don't panic, but do act strategically. There are options, and a well thought out plan can make a challenging transition so much smoother.
Okay, I think they got the gist of it. Usually at the end of the show, we haven't done this in a while. It's called, let's see if we can bring it up here. TikTok financial flops. Here we go. We're going to watch a video here. This comes from, who is this guy? Bulldog, what does that say?
Bulldog Mindset Official.
Let's listen to what he has to say. Let's see if it's any truth to it.
Here are the 3 worst pieces of financial advice that I've heard that's been floating around recently. The first one is put money in your 401k. It is not smart if you want to actually retire while you're young. Instead, what you want to do is you want to take that money and put it into real estate investments where you're going to get a way bigger return that's going to more than compensate for the tax savings that you would get from putting money in the 401k. The second one is pay off your house. It's ridiculous, especially if you have an interest rate around 3 to 4%, low interest rates. You can take that money that you would pay down your house and you can put it literally into the bank where some of the high yield savings accounts are getting 3.5%, 4% and make more money, but you can put into real estate or some other investment and easily beat the percentage that you're paying on your house. And the third one is don't use credit cards. Credit cards are going to save you a lot of money if you use them the right way, which is to pay them off at the end of the month. You can save 2% on everything if you use a 2% cashback card, and if you use an airline miles card and use the bonuses on that, you can travel for free all over the place.
Wow, that guy had a lot of caffeine.
I was going to say this.
All right, he hit like 3 points there. One of which was not to invest in your 401k and to invest in real estate. What was that about? What do you think about that?
He has some interesting points there. If your bread and butter is a 401k and you're working, usually you have diversification in the 401k because you have a combination, or you have large caps, mid caps, small caps, international funds, fixed funds, and bonds and money markets. It's pretty diversified, and based on our person's risk tolerance, they can kind of assess what percentages of those funds they want to be in. So if they're young, they can be aggressive. If they're in the middle of their I guess their work, they've been in 20 some years, they want to be moderately conservative, or if they want to be conservative altogether, they have a lot of options, and that's what they should do. They also have a Roth portion of their 401k. So to put all that money into just real estate doesn't make sense to me.
Kind of locks it up. And we have the 401k optimizer that we offer clients, in which they'll take a little test, give them the risk score, and tell them where they should be allocated.
Exactly. Yeah, we have an algorithm based on a company that's been around for a long time, very successful, and based on some easy questions, 5 easy questions that takes less than 2 minutes, a client will be assessed their risk tolerance, and the optimizer puts them exactly where they need to be in.
I thought it was kind of. He said, don't invest in your 401k to invest in real estate. But then he says, and he goes on to say, don't pay off your house because you got a low interest rate. Take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. Isn't that just kind of mixed messages there? I mean, that doesn't make too much sense.
Well, based on what he's dressed like right now, and he looks like he just got out of the gym.
The caffeine. What are those powders that they take at the gym?
The
explode,
the pre-workouts.
The pre-workouts.
Yeah, he's a sprightly little fellow there. Yeah. It just depends on your situation. What we do as financial advisors is we do a suitability test. We find out everything about a client, from their assets and liabilities, and we tailor make our recommendations based on their financial DNA and what's best for them.
I thought it was. I mean, I didn't disagree with him when he said how to use your credit cards properly.
Right.
And that's to use them, and pay them off every month.
Yeah, David, but do most people do that?
Sure.
Having an elderly mother and an elderly father, they're old school, and they actually have checkbooks that most of us.
They're balancing their checkbooks.
They're balancing their checkbooks. Yeah, every single thing, even if it's a
penny.
Yeah, to the penny. They go to a store. They go to Walmart. They buy a hamburger at a restaurant and some fries or whatever they buy. They write it down if they're using a check. If they have cash, cold hard cash, right, then you actually feel how much you're spending.
Then it hurts.
So they're very disciplined.
Yeah, especially once you break that $100, it just disappears. Yeah.
Exactly, and things are more expensive now, so it goes out your hands faster, right? What cost $20 back then is it's a lot more expensive now, and if you feel it more when you have a credit card, you don't feel it at all until you get your statement at the end of the month, and then you're like, oh my goodness, I'm paying this interest rate, I have this much to pay back, and it comes
Criminal interest rates.
right. So it just it depends on the person. If things are anything used the right way, if you're using anything, I mean something in self-defense that you use, it's for self-defense. If you do it aggressively, it's not. So credit cards, that we can go on and on.
They're dangerous,
Yeah, they can be dangerous. So basically, it just comes down to an individual having the discipline to use them the right way, as he says. Sure, that.
I had taken a class, and this is going to show my age. Decades ago. It was a math class that just taught you like real world scenarios, how to balance your checkbook, how to use credit cards. And the professor there said, get a credit card. Y'all are young, get a credit card, use it once a month, buy a hamburger, pay it off. That's it. That's all you use it, just once a month, just to build credit and to show that you're
Right.
And I didn't listen to that. And
No.
I said, oh, who does? You're young, you get a $5,000 credit card.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm going to use it for this, I'm going to use it for that. But if you don't have like a steady income stream coming in, it can pile up.
It can pile up, yeah, very fast.
Especially with medical emergencies,
Right.
Anything like that, it can get you. So be careful. If you're living in the state of Texas, I know in June you're able to access for free your entire credit history. I know some credit cards also offer that, where you can get notified about TransUnion and all the top three.
Sure.
So stay on top of your credit. Make sure you pay off everything every month, and argue for a better credit rate. A better lower interest rate if you can. But definitely do not invest in real estate instead of your 401k. There's places, especially with your mom and her history, investing in real estate. There's a place and time for everything.
There is, and it takes experience. And usually, people that start off in real estate, they learn. There's some mistakes that are made at the beginning, but it's a learning process. And once they get the hand of it, they're able to be successful. But to just get into
don't
it,
ignore your 401k.
Don't your bread and butter for your retirement. Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything outside that, any disposable income that a person has, they can invest it in other things. There's brokerage accounts, there's life insurance policies that are tax favorable.
That build cash value.
Yes, like an IUL, they can build something that in the future, even they have riders on them, they have provisions in them that protect for long-term care in the event that it happens. I know young people don't think about those things, but all we have to do is look at our parents or grandparents, aunts and uncles that are in the older years, and you see sometimes our bodies break down. Things happen. And we all know that going to the doctor and those things are very expensive. So why not invest you're investing in yourself for your future with that dignity insurance, long-term care. You can start planning out everything. Just like think about, David, when you go out, when you and your wife go to a vacation, do you just go or do you plan it out?
She plans out everything. I'm more of the ones that, rough idea and kind of play it by ear because I'm on vacation. I don't want to plan anything.
Right.
I want to take it easy. But, on her, she wants to get everything lined up. We're going to do this, that, have a whole itinerary for everything. But it's a good plan you're going to get older. You're going to need it.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful, I can keep working and die with my boots on.
Right.
But
We all do.
But at some point, I might lose my mind.
We don't know. Science have advanced so much, but still we don't know what's going to come. Mm-hmm. So like the vacation, people plan so much for a Disney cruise. We just went on a Disney cruise, right? We planned our airfare, everything down to the T, and everything, thank God went wonderfully. I've been on other vacations where things happen, right? So like your retirement, now you should start thinking about all those things. Long-term care.
Did you get like insurance on your Disney cruise?
Yes.
Maybe this is kind of like the insurance on, you being old. Yeah.
It's going to happen where we had to cancel but I wanted to get my money back. I put a lot of money into it. Disney cruises are not cheap, but I safeguarded the money I invested into this wonderful experience by buying insurance. So if people would plan, basically what I'm saying is, if people plan for a vacation, they should also plan ahead for their retirement. So they should, I recommend getting with a financial professional or a CPA that can help you, navigate those waters. So you take advantage of time. If you have time now as a young person, you can really, really,
it's really taking advantage of it.
Well, yeah,
you jump on it.
You have to jump on it now. So when you get to that level, when time passes by so quickly, can you agree? Time goes by fast.
Every decade keeps getting faster.
Yes. So you want to make sure that, especially if you're a family person, you want to make sure that you're taken care of so you're not a burden to your kids. And you want to make sure that if nothing happens, that you have enough money to live comfortably.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. While you were on that cruise, in the news, we heard that somebody had gone overboard.
Yeah.
And this office immediately thought, you know what, Martha finally had it with Carlos. Luckily he could swim. But then we found out it was a child, and it got dark until we were figuring out, were y'all okay?
It was
okay.
It was a different cruise. We also heard the news on board, and I had Wi-Fi, so I had people calling and texting and wondering if it was on our ship, and luckily it wasn't. Luckily, the father and the daughter who fell are safe. He was able to dive in after her, but that could be a metaphor for life itself, right? You have to plan ahead. You have to be aware of your surroundings, because things can get very difficult very fast. That's
a hell of a father jumping in.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
we all would have done that.
Right, yeah. And your finances can be, there's people in 2007 and 2008 during the subprime mortgage crisis that weren't prepared, that didn't have help from a financial professional. And they were allocated very aggressive in their 401ks or their TSPs.
Or they bought all the real estate, right?
Right. and then the markets had a correction, and they were out 20, 30, or 40% of their retirement that they had built for the better part of 30 years. Their whole career was a big chunk of that was wiped out in just a matter of
all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly. So it's important to you talked about the optimizer. And we're using AI, we're using algorithms to track the markets on a daily basis. So a person that's working who's not well-versed in the markets and all of those different things, they don't have to be, because they'll receive an email or a text telling them to make changes to rebalance those funds within their 401k or TSP so they could be, at the right place at the right time, make adjustments so they can either limit their liability when the markets go down, or they can enhance their benefits and their compound interest if the markets go up.
So if the sky falls, they'll get a text alert, hey,
right,
move to this more conservative funds within your 401k.
Right.
And, move to safety.
Right. And going back to that video, the TikTok video, we talked about this and that, or whatever. I mean, there's no one size fits all. You have to sit down with a financial professional, just like you do when you go to a doctor. You're not feeling well. They have to get blood samples. They have to get your blood pressure. Before they make any recommendations, they have to go over the whole picture. And for your finances, that's the same thing that we do for our clients. And we tailor make it to their wants and their needs today, tomorrow, and into the future.
And we also have something similar on our Schwab platform, which gives a balance every day to everybody that's on our Schwab.
Asset lock.
Yes. So it'll tell you your balance, and it'll tell you if you've reached like a high watermark, which is the highest balance you've reached. And it'll also tell you, hey, you're getting too low within your risk range.
Right.
We need to sit down. We need to have a conversation. We need to move you to something a little more conservative.
Yeah, using AI and keeping everything, all the information is provided to you at your fingertips. You're already on your phone most of the time, at work, when you're at home. It's become such a device that we rely on. But now the crucial information is fed to you. You know how you're doing as far as your accounts. It's transparent. It's updated. It's working in real time. So you're always in the know or in the now of what's going on with your finances. And if anything ever happens, we can make adjustments to keep your financial goals on track.
Yeah, as long as they don't get annoyed.
Yeah.
We had a client come in yesterday. I'm getting texts every day of my balance. Hey, that's a great thing.
That's a great
man.
thing,
We're on
yeah.
top of it. All right, man. I think we're done here. We just wrapped up. Good discussion. I think we hit a lot of points.
Yes.
Hopefully that's anybody that is a federal employee that is facing a layoff. There's a lot of information here. Anybody with a 401k, great information as well. So just follow us on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to Retire Rich, Tales of Financial Freedom. Have questions about topics covered during the show? Visit our website at www.mahfinancial.biz or give us a call at 956-994-0407. Don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Investment advisory services and financial planning services are offered through Simplicity Wealth LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of the firm, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability. Insurance, consulting, and education services offered through M.A.H. Financial. M.A.H. Financial is an unaffiliated entity from Simplicity Wealth. Clicking the like button does not constitute a testimonial for or an endorsement of our investment advisory firm, any associated person, or our services. Clicking the like button is merely a mechanism to circulate our page. Like is not meant in the traditional sense. In addition, postings to our page must refrain from recommending us or providing testimonials for our investment advisory firm. Because the SEC and state securities regulators generally prohibit testimonials, any such postings are subject to swift removal.